All right, let's hit play. All right, so let's see. Seems like you definitely main Kha'Zix. You play Kha'Zix, Lux, Lee Sin, and then every other champion you have only one game or fewer on, so we're not gonna consider those. Um, it looks like I'm assuming you're a jungle Kha'Zix main. You probably play Lee Sin when Kha'Zix is banned or picked, and then looks like you play Lux 6 times. I'm assuming those were off-roll games, so you couldn't get jungle. Alright, so your Kha'Zix win rate is okay. You have a 50% win rate on Kha'Zix, but your overall win rate is 43%, so you're definitely on the negative end in terms of you're not climbing right now, so we'll try and address that. This game, it looks like... Okay, so this game you went 3-5-4, and your team lost. So we'll try to investigate this and see what happened. Jungle Rammus. Okay. Alright, so you're starting red, and then pause this here. Let's turn this on, just blue. Hide it there. Okay, so the very first thing, very small thing, but very first thing I'm gonna say, you clearly are a little confused on what to do. It looks like you're here. You're kiting the oh, the buff's coming. Okay, cool. So you're kiting the buff down. That's cause. You're kiting the buff down here, but you don't even know where you want to go yet. So in general, you always want to kite towards the direction you want to go next. So I'll use this Brand as an example of what not to do, right? So we can see here, Brand's here. Obviously, Brand wants to go here and then wants to go back to his lane next, right? So why is Brand kiting this way? All he's going to do is waste time because now he has to travel back over that to get down here. Brand should be kiting this way with the MF actually to be closer to the lane that they want to leave this in and get closer to lane. Get closer to their lane for minions. So as that example of like Brand's going the wrong way, ask yourself, why are you kiting down here? If you want to go right to Krugs after, that's fine. That means you're kiting in the right direction. But after you finish red, you seem to be a little confused onto what to do next. So it seems like you didn't actually know where you wanted to go. So I'm going to see. So you walk back up here, you stop, you turn around. So this is fine, but just try to get that, like, be confident. Like, if you know you want to go here, go here. Don't worry too much about if it's the best situation when you're in game. Like, once you decide what to do, you have to go do it. If you hesitate too much, you're only going to waste time. Okay, so this is good. Now you're getting Raptors. No, we are going top. We are going to get, I'm assuming blue. Okay, so Kha'Zix can actually do Raptors pretty well because you already have your W. So if I were you, I would have probably, since you still had full health and you came right back up here past it, I would get Raptors first. Between your Q and your W, you can usually kill them pretty healthily. You just have to kite. So that the trick here with Kha'Zix, your W does AoE damage and it heals you, right? So when you start this, you want to try and get the small Raptors first. Do not just like walk to the back and then attack the big one, because all the small ones are going to hit you the whole time and you're going to take a lot of damage. Start right here, hit this first little one, and then kite back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and slowly start whittling away at the Raptors. And if you can get them caught, all the little ones, on each other, only like the two closest to you will actually end up attacking you. So you can actually do this camp and maintain pretty healthy. And then once you kill all the small ones, now you have isolation damage on the big one. You can just go in and Q it and kill it. So I would have done that just because you're not going to get level 3 off of blue. And you're going to have to do another camp anyway. So you could have done Raptors, done blue, and then transitioned into Scuttle. And you would have been level 3. Oop, hold on. There we go. Okay, so you got your 3. Or, I'll rephrase that. It's not that you wouldn't have gotten 3. because you ended up doing Krugs. So this is actually a good moment. I'm losing it. So since you did Krugs, which gives more XP, not camp, buff Krugs gives you 3. If you didn't do Krugs, let's say you did buff Raptors buff, you would not have gotten 3. You had still level 2. So in that case, you would have needed to do another camp afterward anyway, whether it be Scuttle or Gromp up here. The reason why I was going to say to do Raptors was because if you do, so I'm going to draw the mini map. So if you do red, Krugs, Raptors, then go to blue, by the time you finish blue, this Scuttle is now up, so you can go right into the Scuttle. If you do red Krugs, blue, the Scuttle's not up yet, so it really only gives you one choice, or not one choice. It takes away one of the possible choices. You can either A, go gank a lane, which it looks like you're going to mid, so that's good, or B, go into the enemy jungle and place a ward down and try and catch the rotation of the enemy jungler when he will finish his camp and then inevitably go check for Scuttle. So those are your 2 choices right now, and you choose to go gank mid. Yeah, you're ganking mid. So you come here. That's fine. You get a gank. Now you're on the bottom side, and you run into Rammus. Alright, so we're going to rewind a bit. We're going to see if there's any way we could have known that was going to happen. Even go back a little further. Okay, so when the game starts... Enough? Yeah, this is enough. Okay, so... we're going to watch the mini-map in a second. I'm going to hopefully speed through this. Okay. Here. So, look at your mini-map. We see these guys are in lane, and there's no one in lane top. So if we look at this, that tells us that they're leashing topside, right? So that's the key point. Your bot lane is still leashing. Their bot lane's already in lane. So there's a good chance that they were never leashing in the first place, and they went right to lane. On top of that, we see Riven's in top lane all alone, which means Urgot's not there. So unless Urgot comes in the next like 3 seconds and he was just like texting his girlfriend or something under tower and waiting, there's a good chance that he's leashing Rammus. So all we saw was fix this fog of war. All we saw was these 2 things: bot lane show and top lane did not show. So now we know Rammus is starting red. So we have to keep that in mind as we do our clear to try and map it out. So we finish this. We do bot. So now Rammus has now done 2 camps. We can assume. We take a little long path. So Rammus might be done his 3rd camp before we finish blue. Alright, so we know Rammus has done 3 camps. And he's on to his 4th camp now. If he did 3 that were closer in proximity instead of walking across the map, he might even be a little further ahead. So he might be like halfway done his 4th camp. We choose the gank, which is fine, but we know that Rammus is on his 4th camp, or he's done 3 like us and he's ganking. So Rammus started topside. So there's a good chance Rammus did 1, 2, 3, and then or similar to you, where he did 1, 2, 3 wolves probably, and then he went down to between blue and mid. So kind of think of this as like a mirror, right? So you started here, Rammus started here. So for the early game, we know Rammus isn't topside because he would have ganked already. He didn't gank top, so unless he's sitting here and like wasting a lot of time, he's not there. We can see on the bot side right now, hold on, that Rammus is here. So Rammus just ganked bot. So now that tells us we know, based on our own pathing and what we did, we went here, 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 and then mid. Rammus went here, 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 and then bot. That's the only possible path he could have taken to have ganked bot in time. If he does these other camps in between, or he could have done Raptors. Raptors is on the way. But if he goes out of his way to do either Krugs or Gromp, he would not have had enough time to get the camps done and be bought. Now if we check scoreboard, Rammus has 16, we have 12. So we know Rammus did 4 camps because you get 4 CS per jungle camp, right? We only have 12 CS. That's our 3. So that means we know Rammus did 4. If he did 4 and he already ganked bot, which means he could not have wasted any time going out of order, it means he must have done red, Raptors, Wolves, blue, bot. That's the only possible combination of 4 camps he could have done that would have gotten him to bot in time. Right? Especially Rammus, because Rammus does AoE damage, so he takes Raptors pretty easily. So there's no reason for him to not take Raptors and take Gromp, for example. Like, he wouldn't do that. He would get the Raptors. So we know that was Rammus's path. Knowing that, and now this is all stuff that's just like in your head. The second you see Rammus bot side, what you should do in game, tab the scoreboard. Right? Now that you have the knowledge Rammus is bot side, you already have the knowledge that he started red buff. You tab the scoreboard and you see, okay, he's done 4 camps. Now just in your head, automatically, you know, okay, that means he went double buff, Raptors, and probably Wolves, because those are the easiest to take going down that path, and he's currently bot side. So all of this stuff is stuff that we know just from information that we were given between our scoreboard, with telling us he did 4 camps, and then our vision on the map, both the beginning of the game to tell where he started, and the current gank he's doing to say, now we know he went from red to bot lane, what did he do in between? 4 camps, must have been this combo. So that's how we kind of paint a picture in our head and help track a jungler. What that also means is that his Krugs should be up. So there is no way Rammus had time to do Krugs and get all 4 camps and gank bot, because you can use your own motion to the jungle as like a reference. You did 1, 2, 3 and then ganked mid, but you took Krugs, which is basically like a 2 camps worth in terms of length. So if you did 2 camps and Krugs and then are about to gank, that's the same as him doing 4 normal camps and then ganking. So that math all adds up. So I know that was a little bit like a little much, and you might be thinking like, oh, how do I have time to think of all of that in the moment? Well, there's 2 ways. One, you spend a lot of time in the jungle just walking from camp to camp. Whenever you're walking from camp to camp, kind of in between, you should be panning you should be looking at the minimap, looking at the scoreboard, and then panning your view, like your screen, see how it's not locked right now, over all the different lanes. You should be checking the health in the health of the champions in the lane state in each one as you're filling that dead space of the time when you're just walking from camp to camp, right? Because you don't need to be super focused on your champ if you're going from red to Raptors. All you have to do is click here once and then pan your camera over and check the lanes, and then press whatever button you have bound to lock your camera back, and it'll zoom right back to your own character and you're good. So that's how you want to be moving through the jungle. And that way you take in this information dynamically, not all at once. So like you will take in those bits and pieces. You would have already checked the scoreboard and noticed that he had 4 kills. Well, 4 camp kills. When you notice he has 4 camp kills, you only get updates when he's in vision, which means he's already in bot lane. So you can pan over and say, oh, I see 3 little circles in bot lane. Rammus must be there. And then you can put all this in your head as you're walking mid and paint a picture for what he's doing. The reason why this is important is next. So this is why you end up dying here. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a little long-winded, I'm sure, and it's going to be a little bit like an extra explanation. But through my conversation with you on Discord, it seems like you are willing to kind of invest time into this and try to like learn it. So I'm going to spend a little more time explaining this stuff. And even if it's sometimes like a little too much, I think it's better than not explaining enough. So what happens here, we're going to play again once I get this on you. And you're going to make a mistake here. Alright, so we just saw Rammus walk this way. So we know Rammus is either taking Scuttle or going mid. Those are the only 2 things he can do. He's not going to go back into his jungle if Scuttle's up. He's going to take Scuttle. So if he's taking Scuttle, and then he sees you ganking mid, he's going to start walking mid. So now we know Rammus is walking mid. And what do? We gank and then walk down towards Rammus. See what I'm saying? So even though in your head, when you probably played this game, you were probably thinking, oh crap, that's so unlucky. Like, why was Rammus like right there? Like the one time I gank, he's waiting for me. Well, you already knew he was there. Because of all the stuff we've already explained, painting the picture in our head, we know exactly what Rammus's path was. We know exactly what camps he took. We know he already ganked bot and failed the gank, so he's going to be leaving now. and now we literally just saw him on the minimap go towards Scuttle. So we know Rammus is on Scuttle, and then we gank mid, which is fine, but then the gank is done, and now you're walking towards where you know Rammus is. This is a big mistake by you. What you could have done, the gank is still fine, but then when the gank's over, now go this way. Because for one of two things. One, obviously you're not walking right into Rammus, who's going to kill you. But two, you know his Krugs are up. You know from before that he did 4 camps, and it must have been 2 buff, Raptors, Wolves, or else he wouldn't have had time to also gank bottom. Because we did 3 camps, and one of them was Krugs, so there's no way he did 4 camps and ganked, and one of them was Krugs, because Krugs take so long to take. So you know his Krugs is still up. So I'm even going to rewind a little bit. Your 2 options here are to gank, and then go back up here and take his Krugs. Or, before you gank, you don't even need to gank if you don't want to. So when you're right here, and you see your Katarina's backed off. Your Katarina, for whatever reason, maybe she's AFK, maybe she's scared, maybe she's not willing to commit to this gank. She's she's way further off than she needs to be. She's probably, honestly, texting on her phone, and that's why she backed herself up behind the tower so that she wouldn't get harassed on her tower while she's texting. So if she's texting, doing her own thing, you don't want to gank right now, because you're not going to get any help. She's way too high health, you're not going to kill her right now, and you're not going to get any help from your Katarina. What I would have done is, from this point, I would have ran straight this way. I would have ran that way, I would have V-lined it for his Krugs, and then after taking Krugs, I would have looked for a gank topside. If there was an easy gank topside, that's great, you're getting a Riven ahead, that's huge. An Ignite Riven ahead in lane is huge. And then if there's no gank, you just come and you collect Scuttle Crab. It's that simple. So that was option B. Option A was gank mid, which is what you chose to do. Option B was to counter jungle Krugs, and then either get a gank top or a free Scuttle. I would have chosen option B. That's just my playstyle. That's the thing I like to do. Either option was valid. What was not valid is once you finish the gank, walking right down into Rammus, who we should have known was right there. Okay, again, I know I'm explaining a lot and I'm going into detail, we're only 3 minutes into the game, but I wanted to get this kind of stuff in your head, because this is the kind of stuff that we were talking about on Discord a lot, but it's harder to just talk about it and understand. I think it's much easier to just see it happen and see it unfold in game, and then now you can draw the connection, oh, that's what he meant when he was saying track the jungle, track the camps and things like that. And you can see it directly affected you. You died because you did not track Rammus properly, and you had enough information to track him. You just didn't do it, and that's fine. That's why we're bronze. That's why we're doing this. But now you can see this death was avoidable if we had just paid attention to where we thought Rammus could be. All right, so now we respawn. We buy the other. All right, that's fine. The other jungle item. We're gonna go bot side to get our Raptors. No, we're gonna go gank here. Okay, so that ends up working out. Now we're invading. Alright, so his Raptors are back up, and his Krugs are still up. So he hasn't taken Krugs yet. This is good. Now we're gonna go with Scuttle. Alright, this is good. Now you see Rammus on your ward, and you know that he's taking Raptors because you just saw that, so that's good. And now you saw Rammus go this way. This is actually really important. So you saw Rammus go this way. You know his red buff's gone because you just walked by it, and you know his Krugs are gone because you just took them. So Rammus is now about to walk topside and find out that his camp is missing, which means he is probably going to gank top afterward. The reason why is because when you're a jungler, I'm sure it's happened to you too, when you go and try and get a camp and you realize it's missing and you have no more camps in that entire side of the map, you want something from that. You don't want to feel like you wasted your time and then have to walk all the way back to the other side without getting anything, right? So if he's going to walk top and realize nothing's here, he's probably going to run here and at least try for a gank. At the very least, you know he's going to look for the gank. Whether he goes or not, he's going to look for it. So what you need to do is be in the counter jungle mindset right now. You know you just took his Krugs, and you saw him just walk this way. So you know he's about to go topside with no camps to farm. So if you were a jungler and you're going to one side of your jungle, what are you thinking? You're always thinking, oh, I can either farm or gank, right? Well, he's thinking the same thing. And you took away the farm option from him. So you know Rammus is about to go topside, and his only possible play is either to gank top or literally like just recall and go all the way back and go bot side. So what you need to do here is be ready to counter jungle top. So what you should do, I'll find out if you do it or not, is wait in this bush right here and wait for Rammus to come. Alright, good. You did exactly that. That was really good. I don't know if you did it on purpose or not, but now at least you know the reasoning behind why you should have done that. So if you did do it on purpose, that's really good. I'm glad you did it. That was really well. Alright, now we're going to go fight this gank. Alright, so we didn't fight the gank very well. Okay, so this turns out pretty badly. So, you made the right decision in terms of tracking Rammus this time, but we made the wrong decision in terms of how to fight. So let's watch this a little slower and see if we can figure out what happened. So you just chased Rammus off. And now, alright, here. So let's look at the situation. He's level 6. The second that you have a level 6 versus 5-4, 6-4, they win this fight. Unless he whiffed his ult and you like noticed he did and it's not a factor anymore, you're not going to win this fight anymore. You did a really good job of tracking Rammus, predicting where he's going to be, and counter jungling successfully. That was all fine. However, you always have to be evaluating your plans dynamically. That means that things constantly update and they constantly change. And him leveling up to level 6 is a huge thing. Not only do you get more HP and more stats when you level up, but obviously level 6 he got his ult. And Urgot ult is absolutely insane in these little skirmishes because he just instant deletes someone if they get low. So the second that he gets 6, you leave. This fight is no longer winnable. If you stay, you're only going to either bait the Riven in for her to die, or you're going to die yourself. If you start to leave and the Riven goes in, that's her funeral. Do not turn back and try to help her, because now you're both going to die. In this situation, you want to just get out of here. So it looks like you start to, and then it looks like you go back to help the Riven. So that's where you made a mistake. Do not do that. Just keep going. You have 2 camps to farm that you could be doing right now instead of fooling around with Riven and dying. Now it's sad because I think she's going to end up living because you basically sacrificed yourself to save her. But see how she wastes flash and you die, and then she does the same thing where she had a perfect opportunity to get out, but then she comes back to try and save you. So you guys both did the same thing to each other where you... Alright, so you died to Urgot ult. Riven's going to get away, I think. I hope so. I think she got away, right? Urgot flashed. Riven's going to run right down into Kayle, but Kale's not going to notice because she's not paying attention. And Riven's fine. Okay, so you save Riven ultimately, but you die and Riven blows her flash. So in that situation, whenever you find yourself in that situation in the future, don't go back in. Leave and save them. Because now, look at you. You're stuck on bot side of your map, and you have to go bot side because you have 3 camps, dragon, and a lane to watch. But you still have 2 camps top side. This is really, really bad in jungling. Because the way that camps work in jungling is every time they respawn, they get their XP value then, and it does not update until you kill them again. So the longer that camps stay on the map, the lower XP they are. In the sense that, let's say that these camps, they spawned when you were level 2. Right? I'm just making up a number just to follow along. So that means these have XP that would have been good for you at level 2. Well, now you're level 4. And you're probably going to clear some more camps before you go back up there. So you're probably going to be level 6 before you go back up there now. So now, when you go up top and you clear these camps, even though you're level 6, you're only getting the same XP you would have got at level 2 because you haven't killed them since then. That's how jungle camps work in this game, and that's why the Krugs are really, really important, is because the Krugs are worth the most XP of all the camps. So you want that one to reset quicker so that it doesn't stay at the low XP value, and you'll get the new updated XP value when you level up and they respawn. So because that's how jungle camps work, if you had left the Riven to die and went and farmed your 2 camps and then backed, now you would have got the appropriate amount of XP for those 2 camps, and they would have been respawning and updating with more XP. Now that they're still up, they're only going to be worth like this much XP when you want that much, and they're not really going to be useful. They're basically just going to be like obstacles to get out of the way to get the real camps to spawn and give you the XP back. So that's a mechanic of the jungle that a lot of people don't know how XP works. Each camp is not just worth a set amount of XP, it scales throughout the game. So the quicker you kill the camps, the quicker they respawn with a new higher amount of XP. The longer you let them sit there, the longer they stay at that low XP value and they don't get a chance to respawn at the high one. So again, I know that's long-winded, but that's how it works, and that's why this is actually a little worse than you might notice, because now you're not only behind level Rammus because he didn't die, but when you go back up and get your camps are lower level than Rammus's camps since he got them and reset them. So now you're going to be further behind later on when you eventually go get those camps. And a lot of people don't know that that's how the jungle works. So that's a very useful mechanic for the jungle. So now we're looking bot side. Okay, good. You went here. I was going to say, there's really nothing to gank here. They're pushed under tower. You might want to watch for a counter gank here, because this is like if you were on the red team, you'd be looking at this saying, okay, half health MF, full health Brand, no level 6 yet, they're pushing under tower. That's a good lane to gank if you were on the red team jungle. So you know that Rammus is thinking the same thing. So it might be a good thing to just keep an eye on that bot lane, because Rammus is probably going to want to go down there. Oh, and like literally as I say that, here's Rammus. So, alright, your bot lane does a pretty good job. Here you come. This is good. Finish off that Rammus. Nice. Now get the Nami. Nice, dude. Nice. Okay. So, perfect. Again, I don't know if you were thinking of all that Rammus is probably going to gank bot as you were farming, but if you weren't, now you can see that's literally what was going through my mind, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So just you want to get in this mindset of like, while you're farming, you shouldn't have to be like to pay attention and like stare at those camps to farm them, especially on a champ. You said you play Kha'Zix a lot, so you should basically know Kha'Zix's farming pattern, how you press your abilities, how you auto. So you should be able to kind of auto while staring at the minimap and getting information while you just like passively take your camp. And if you can do that, you can go through the same thought process that I was going through, where I was saying, okay, well, they're pushing over, they're not level 6 yet, MF's low health, and I was like, if I was Rammus, I would gank this lane, and that tells you that Rammus is probably going to gank the lane. So what you need to do, while you're farming this camp, start slowly kiting the camp over and closer, just so that you're ready. The second you see Rammus show up, you leave the camp and you go save your bot lane, which ended up being what happened, so that was good. I don't know if you were thinking of all that stuff and like were ready for the Rammus, or you just kind of saw him on the minimap and reacted. Either way, you made the right decision, but now try to get that habit in your head of like thinking in advance of like, where do I think Rammus would want to go, and then getting ready to act on that. Okay, so you're looking in the jungle. That's a good ward. And then, okay, hold on. So I want to show you one thing. So I was gonna say, this, great. Getting the plant, great. Placing the ward, excellent. I absolutely love all of that. The one thing I don't love is how you don't try to take the buff. Right here, this is 100% a buff you could have taken. So what I would have done is, let's back up a little bit before you place that ward. Okay, let's get on you. So I'll show you what I would have done, and then that way maybe it'll make sense rather than just explaining it. To go here, this is perfect. Freeze. So watch this, the vision you get from this Scribe's Bloom. Alright, so the vision goes all the way here. So that means you know Rammus is not entering the jungle right now. So you have a lot of time. Even if he enters the jungle, the next frame, the vision goes away, you have some time to work with, right? And you know Rammus just died. Like, you just saw him die bot lane. You killed him. So he had to respawn and then walk out of base. So there's no way he's already like somewhere over here, right? Because he didn't have enough time to get all the way there yet. So you know he's somewhere in base still. That's the stuff that we know. He's somewhere in base, and as of right now, he's not walking into this bot side jungle. So what I would do is see this ward. I wouldn't place it here. I would place it here. Or here, either way. The reason why I'd put it right here is because this ward will now get you vision of this spot. This is the quickest way for Rammus to enter the jungle. I'm going to draw on the minimap. So if you go from here down this way, that is the quickest way for Rammus to enter the jungle. His alternate route is to go bot lane and come up, which you do not expect him to do. Junglers do not usually follow bot lane and come up. Or to go mid lane and then cut in. So what you want to do, by placing the ward here, it gets vision of all of this right here. So no matter which route he takes in, you will be able to spot Rammus and leave if you need to. So if you place the ward here, that gives you vision of all 3 possible paths he can take to get to you. And that means you're safe to steal this blue. So if you start the blue and then kite, backwards, and then try to finish the blue, like right around here, kill the blue off, and that way that if you see Rammus, remember you put your ward in this scenario, you put your ward right here, you have vision of all of these pathways. So if you see Rammus coming, you just book it and you leave. But it gives you a free chance to steal a blue. So that's another way of thinking where I liked your thinking of using the plant to get vision. I liked your thinking of getting the vision down to track Rammus. What I don't like is your placement of the vision and how that limits what you can do. If you put it here, it allows you to steal this blue. Because now you have vision of if Rammus is going to come in and you can safely take the blue. Whereas if you put it here like you did, it's still good that you can track Rammus with it, but it doesn't allow you to do anything right now. If you put it here, you can both track Rammus and safely take the blue. It serves 2 purposes. So that's what I want you to think about next time when you're getting these deep wards, when you're invading jungles. If you're in a situation where you know the jungler is not currently in that side of the jungle, which here you did because you killed him, so you knew he had to come from base, and then you use the plant to check the quickest route that he could have been in, and he wasn't there either. So you know that he's not in the jungle, which means that you're allowed to take that blue buff as long as you put vision on where he can go to track him. So that's what you should have done there. And I don't want to like harp on these little like things like, oh, it's 1 blue buff, but it's more like your mentality of the game, like how you think in the game. Because if you're not thinking to take that advantage, you're going to miss it other times in the game too. And you're going to miss it in other games you play as well. So it's not that I'm harping on you missed 1 blue buff. It's that I'm harping on I want you to think differently and always think for that advantage. This is a good ward, by the way. I don't want to miss that. That's a really good control ward to get rid of the enemy's ward right there. Okay, this is... Okay. So this is iffy. I don't like this. So you take Scuttle. Great. You put a ward here. Great. At this point in time, you know Rammus is somewhere in the jungle. It's now, you've invaded, you put a ward down, you went all the way back down here, you took Scuttle, you walked over here. Like, by this time, you know Rammus is at least somewhere else in the jungle. So I don't like how you're kind of just like walking over and peeking over. The other thing too is that you just killed a ward, right? Or at least you're going to. Right here. So you know they saw you on the stop. If you kill a ward, that means that that ward did see you before you killed it. So you know that they have vision on you. So if Rammus knows and Kale knows you're right here, and bot lane regardless, if everyone knows you're right here, they're going to make plays based off that. So now if you pan over to mid lane, you can see Katarina is half health and a level down. Kale's like 3/4 health, but she's a level up. So Kale is in a much better spot right now than Katarina. And Kale's wave is pushing in. So this should signify to you that Rammus might try to gank mid. Because Katarina is weak and a level down and has less minions. Or rather, are the minions actually pretty even? Yeah, so the minions are about even, but if they keep farming, I'm assuming they're going to. Kale's going to push this under. So let's see what happens here. So Rammus comes mid, he leaves, and now where are we? So we went this way to check the blue, and then came back, and then stood here and waited. So the reason why I was saying I don't like this is because you already have the vision on the blue. So I think maybe what you were trying to do was going to like hop the wall and take the blue, and then you saw Rammus mid, so you came back, and then you decided to wait. I don't like this in the sense that I'll let it play out and I'll explain it better after. See how you're trapped now? See how you can't go anywhere because Rammus, you might be able to 1v1 Rammus. It's gonna be pretty close at this point in the game. But he has a Kale. So if you walk out of this bush, you just die. So that's why I don't like you going this way when you don't have vision on Rammus, because even though yes, you have vision on this blue buff, you don't know where he is, and you don't know if you can 1v1 him at this point in the game, with Kale having priority mid. So she's going to be able to roam before your Katarina is going to be able to roam right now, if you were to meet him anywhere in the jungle. So what I was going to explain, that's why I let it play out, because it was easier to explain it once Rammus came here, and you can literally see, like, oh, if you move, you're dead. You're trapped now. So by you going back in here and kind of waiting and then coming back out, you're basically just like putting yourself in a little pocket on the minimap where Kale's here, Rammus was here, but they're both mid lane, and you're sitting right here, and your mid laner is weaker, so you can't really count the mid laner. Imagine she's not there because she's weaker and she's half health. She's not doing anything right now. You're putting yourself behind two strong people on the enemy team, and then you're not moving, and you're letting them move toward you. This is just asking to die, because the closer that they get to you, the less chance you have to get out of there safely. Especially Rammus, who can use his Q, and he's very mobile and very quick. So that's why I was saying when you move this way, I was like, oh, I don't like that. Like immediately, I kind of already knew like that's what was gonna happen, because that's just the nature of these two champs and having a mid lane who's behind. That's just what happens in these scenarios, and you'll get to learn this with more experience. You'll play it enough games, and you're like, okay, well, whenever my mid laner is weaker, that means the other lane has priority. That means it's risky for me to go past this like halfway line. Imagine like a halfway line all the way down here. That's a terribly drawn line. All the way down like here. If your mid laner does not have priority, that means she's either low on health, the wave's pushing into her, or she's just a weaker champion right now. It's really risky for you to invade past that midway line because their mid laner can collapse on you and yours can't. So that's kind of like what you're doing here. Katarina's weak, and you go past that midpoint line, and then you end up getting caught because of it. So we're going to see if you manage to get out of this or not. See if they leave you alone. So they're going to find you. You leap over, and you get out? I think you get out. Gonna chase you down. Oh, he's beating the crap out of you. Alright, so it costs you your flash. So you don't die, but it costs you your flash. And that's only because when you were here, after you killed the ward, you went that way, and you should not have. If you went this way and just farmed your camp, you would have not only had a camp, and you would have been ready to react to the Rammus gank, and you would have been safe from wasting your flash there. So all of that difference came just literally from you. Sorry. Came literally just from you deciding to walk this way after your ward instead of walking that way. And again, sometimes it's really hard to be able to see that in the moment. It's like, oh, well, why would this make any difference? But hopefully now, that's why I'm doing this video, you can see that these little decisions are making big differences. And it's something as simple as saying, like, if I go past this imaginary, like, middle line, and my mid laner is the one that's behind, I die here. You have to ingrain that in your head and like remember that, and then eventually you'll be able to make on-the-spot decisions where you'll just naturally know not to go that way in this situation. Yeah, so see now Rammus just pinged out your flash to all his team. Okay, so now we're topside. We're just clearing some camps. This is fine. You're looking at his jungle. You're checking buffs. You're pinging top gank. Riven goes way too far in, and she dies. All right, so let's see what happened there. Okay, so you're pinging the gank. Let's see what you see. So you're at half health, or a little more than half health. This Urgot is level 8, full health. This Riven is level 7, full health, with a wave under her tower. So this gank is okay if the Urgot pushes this way. If the Urgot pushes this way and is like right here, that means you have time to chase him as he has to walk all the way back down to his tower. And in that scenario, I think this gank is okay, because that means you should have enough time to chase him down and kill him before he gets safe. If, on the other hand, Urgot does not chase, if he stays like around this general area, I would not gank here. Because that means that you either A, it's going to be so obvious you're ganking because Riven's going to have to like sprint by all of her minions to try and get the Urgot, which no one would do naturally. No one would ever look at their lane and be like, I'm just going to give up all that farm and XP for no reason, right? If you're running past all these minions that are hitting your tower, there's a reason for that. And Urgot's going to think, oh, I must be getting ganked. Riven would not be running at me unless Kha'Zix was also here too. So you're telling Urgot that you're ganking him by engaging now and assuming Riven's going to end up running this way. If Riven doesn't, and Riven stays here, and Urgot comes to her, then I think this gank is fine. But you're level 6 and half health. See how Urgot doesn't? And he even starts to move away. So the fact that he's already moving away can signify to you maybe you're on top of a ward. Alright, he's moving back down, so you're probably not. Okay, so now we're meeting here. Remember what I said before? If you gank him in this area, I don't know if I like this gank. If he was all the way down here, it would have been fine. The reason being is that, and you're going to find out in a second when I replay it, you're 6 and low health. Riven's 7, he's 8. Urgot is tanky, he has AoE damage, and he has an execute ultimate. And he's higher level than both of you. This is a perfect storm for him 2v1ing a gank. Another example of champions that will often be able to 2v1 ganks in this scenario, your Darius, your Urgot, your Riven, if Riven was the one that was the higher level and the higher health right now. Elawai is a common one. Aatrox when he was more popular. Jax to an extent. All these champions, if you give them the HP lead, if you give them the level lead, they're going to end up being able to 2v1 ganks. Yes. Especially if you look at the scoreboard, which is something that you should already know the scoreboard as you're playing. Urgot's 3-1. I can't draw on that, can I? Urgot is 3-1. Riven is 1-2. Urgot has 2 item pieces. Riven has 1 item piece. So even if you ignore the level difference, Urgot is just stronger than Riven right now. He has more items. So every single thing is going in Urgot's favor for this gank, even if you 2v1. Now, if you were level 7 or 8 and had full health, yeah, it would be a little more fair, but you're not. So I actually wouldn't even gank this. This, like, when I see this, I see that this is a bad gank, or maybe there's like a 30% chance you kill Urgot, and then there's also like a 30% chance he kills one of you, and then there's like a 40% chance he gets away for free, right? So if that's it's a 30, 40, 30. So 30 that this gank works. 30, Urgot gets away for free, and then, sorry, I'm bad at math, and then 40% chance that not only does the gank not work, but Urgot gets at least 1 kill. That's like what's going through my head when I see this gank. So, generally, I'm going to look at this and say, there's a 70% chance something bad happens. I'm not going to gank this. I'm just going to walk away. You already took the Krugs, which was good. You were counter jungling. You don't need to keep going at gank. You should look for the gank. Always look for it. But it does not mean always do it. So I'm going to play this out, and basically exactly what I said is going to happen, where the gank's going to happen. Urgot's going to get back to his tower. And at this point, this is good. I'm glad you ran away. You recognize, okay, he's safe. Your dumbass Riven did not, and she kept going. So she is now going to kill herself because she's fighting an Urgot under tower. So she dies. Now, there's two really, really important things I want to point out here. One, it's this idea of whose fault was that Riven just died. Well, on one hand, you can say obviously it's her fault because you tried the gank, it clearly did not work, Urgot was clearly safe, and then you even ran away. So you even like told the Riven like, hey, this is not working, I'm out. And then she still ran and chased the Urgot under tower when she was a level down, and he still had ult up. He didn't even use his ult. He could have used his ult and killed her at any moment there. So obviously, from that point of view, the Riven's just an idiot. However, I want to ask you one more question. Let's go back a little bit. What happens in an alternate universe where you get here? We'll take your camp. I'll wait for you to take the camp. Or rather, you come here instead, my bad. What happens in an alternate universe where you don't ping going in? Where you don't actually go in? Where you just take the camp, counter jungle, take this, and then leave. If you don't try to force this gank, go back to my analysis of it and what was going through my head. This is a bad gank, and you should be able to know this is a bad gank. So if you go look at this gank, recognize that it's not very, it has a small chance of working, but it's got a better chance of not working, which means it's a bad gank. And then instead of trying to still force it, you just go counter jungle and leave. You will never cause the Riven to try and engage the Urgot. The Riven, if you don't gank here, she will not fight him, which means she will not have the opportunity to be stupid and chase him under tower. So yes, she was an idiot for chasing him under tower, but she only did that because you ganked. If you didn't gank here, she does not int. So a big theme of climbing in ranked, think about it this way. You're playing with 4 random teammates every single game. You cannot go to their house and grab their mouse and keyboard and play for them. All you can do is affect their play in-game as your own character. But this is one of the ways you can do it. So by you choosing to gank here, you tell the Riven that we're going to engage. And now the Riven's mentality has shifted, where she's like, I want to kill this guy. And yes, there's no way for you to know that the Riven would literally just go and int. But she only inted because you initiated that by ganking. If you choose not to gank, Riven does not die here. And I want to get this in your head because it's going to help climbing a lot, especially in the jungle role, because you're naturally going to be going from lane to lane all the time, is that sometimes the best way to climb in jungle is to fix your teammates' mistakes or prevent your teammates' mistakes. You could have prevented Riven from inting there if you had just not ganked. And you also could have logically made the choice to not gank because you knew that it was a bad gank to start with based on the analysis that we just did before the gank started. So like, in the end, is this necessarily your fault? No. But could you have stopped this and prevented it? Yeah. And would that have helped your team? Yeah, it would have helped a lot. So try to keep that in mind when you play games in the future, is that even if something happens that's not like directly your fault, if you could have had any influence on it at all, it means that you could have done it better. And that in the end, preventing a teammate from inting 2 or 3 times during a game can cause you to win or lose that game. Because it depends, like, let's say that Urgot, now that he's 4 kills, 4 kills total, 3 ahead, yeah. Now that he's 3 ahead of Riven, he's going to get a little bit of a farm lead on. Maybe that's now the tipping point, where top lane is just gone. Obviously, he was already winning, but it hadn't, like, exploded yet. Well, now he's level 9 to her level 7. He's 4 kills to her 1 kill, and he's going to get a farm lead because she's dead, and he's going to farm this wave and then back. So now he went from just being like winning lane to dominating the game just off that 1 kill. He was already really close, to be fair, to like getting to that point, but now he's officially like way ahead, and we could have prevented that from happening. So I want you to be able to see that, because that's a big part of League. No matter what role you play, is like trying to correct your teammates from being stupid. And sometimes you're gonna be the stupid teammate. Like that happens. Sometimes I'm a stupid teammate, and my teammates have to correct for me being stupid. That's just the nature of a team-based game. All right, I don't like this at all. So after that, Riven dies, and you know that Urgot's still alive. Why would you ever try to steal this camp when you know that Urgot is still there? And he did not use his ult yet. You have a level 9 Urgot with more than half health to your level 6 Kha'Zix, and he has ult up. You are suiciding by trying to steal this camp. At the very, very least, you should have come with a control ward. Like, and what I mean is, like, you should have only come here if you had a control ward, just to make sure there was no ward at all in this area. But even if there wasn't, it's a very common thing. Think about this from Urgot's perspective. Let's pretend you were Urgot. If you were Urgot and you just got ganked by the enemy Kha'Zix and you just killed your laner that just tried to gank you, and you saw the enemy Kha'Zix was at half health and you saw him go this way after the gank, what would be going through your head as the Urgot right now? You would be saying, I still have like 3/4 health, half health. I'm 3 levels ahead of this Kha'Zix, and I have ult up. He's gonna V-line it to that jungle and pray that you tried to counter jungle and that you're still there. This is the freest kill for this Urgot that he's gonna see all game. Hopefully we see this and get out with E. Okay, good, we do. But my point was that we shouldn't have even been there in the first place. That is something like, we know we're not getting that. We should have just come back to our jungle and farmed. Yeah, this is a mistake. Why are you going back in here? There's no reason to go back into this jungle. Look at your health. If you find Rammus right now, what do you think happens? You have half health, and you're like, best case scenario, you find this empty red buff, and then Rammus is like walking this way. If his camps are up, that means he's on his way top, because that means he would have just cleared bot. If his camps are gone, that means he's bot side, so you're safe, but his camps are gone. You're not going to find both. I understand what's going through your head is you're just trying to steal more camps, because you're like, oh, well, Krugs were still up. Maybe he hasn't done the rest of these. That's not how that works. If Krugs were still up, and the rest of his camps were still up, that means Rammus is on his way here right now. That means he's coming to get these camps. You're half health. What do you think happens if you run into a full health Rammus coming to get his camps? You die immediately. Like, at this point, Rammus will Q into you, perma-stun you, activate his ult, and run you down. And you will not survive. And so that if his camps are up. If his camps are up, that means he's coming to them, and you're going to die. If his camps aren't up, that means, yeah, he's probably not here and you're safe, but there's no camps up. There's no reason to be here. You could, if you wanted to, place a ward, but even then, I would have, excuse me, I'm sorry. You can do this to place a ward, but seeing how far behind you are right now, you have low health, you just failed your gank, you just failed trying to counter jungle. You want to get rid of these camps. Remember how I pointed out, like, 6 minutes ago, how you left these 2 camps up and they're now really low XP and you want to get them off the map as soon as possible to reset their XP? Well, it's the same idea right now. You're leaving these 2 camps up when you should be getting them to get them off the map and get them to reset. You're leaving your camps up for too long, and that's going to cost you in the long run when you're going to end up falling behind Rammus in terms of levels. So there's no red. Raptors just came up. So that tells you that Rammus is probably going bot side. Because if his Raptors just came back up, that means he had cleared them about, what, a minute and 45 minutes ago, to a minute and 4 seconds, 2 minutes ago. So he's bot side right now. And if you look at the minimap, you can tell he's going bot side now. So this is going to end up being fine, but you're still not resetting your Krugs. Yeah, and then you leave anyway. Why are you leaving? You didn't need to leave there. I don't know what you're doing. You see, let's go back to your Fog of War. So right now, you see Urgot is top side, so he's not a worry. You see that everyone else is missing. So maybe you're saying that you're thinking Kale and Rammus might be around the corner. But now think about it this way, with what we just said. If his Raptors just came up, that means that Rammus is probably bot side. So you know Rammus isn't there. So maybe you're afraid of Kale. In which case, you see the Katarina is on the turret. So Kale's probably going to show here before she shows there, because she's got to clear her own wave and get the cat off her turret. So you're safe. Again, I would not have gone here in the first place, but since you did already go here, you are safe to finish this and then back off. Yeah, because now you're backing. So now, look at the map for me. So you're choosing to back now. This is a bad back. This is not a good back. You're choosing to back now, and when you respawn, what are you going to do? You're going to see the map, and you're going to see, oh, I have one camp here, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. So you're going to go bot side. But now you're leaving your top side up again. You can't keep leaving these camps up because the XP is going to be so worthless now compared to the point in the game you are when you finally do get them and reset them, that it's just going to put you really far behind. What you need to do, don't back here. Go take your 2 top camps and then back. Because now you've reset them and it allows you to go bot side and focus bot side, which is where you're probably going to go anyway. Okay. So, where are you going? You go top side. Okay. So I would thought I've gone top side, but you're gonna finally go reset those camps, which is good. Yeah. So see what happens now. Okay. So this I want to point this out to you. So your top laner just died. Your mid laner just died. You already invaded this jungle, and you know that there's no camps up. So there's nothing for you to do top side except for these 2 camps right now. Unless I guess you were trying to run to a lane and get the farm. That would be the only other thing, is if you want to collect farm. But if you go, you can still collect mid farm by going here, and you can go up. You're not going to be able to fight the Urgot. The Urgot is way too far ahead now. He's level 10. He's still got half health. He's still got half his mana. And you are level 6. He kills you in about 3 auto attacks right now. I'm not even exaggerating. He's so far ahead of you right now just because the level 10 to level 6 difference. There's literally nothing to do topside after you get these 2 camps. So what I would do in this scenario is just go bot side. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that Rammus is mid, and you see that this scuttle's up. So you know he's probably going to be coming down to get the scuttle. So I would V-line it to scuttle to check that. And if he's on it, now you have vision of it, your bot lane can rotate and kill him. If he's not on it, then you take it. And once you take it, now you move back into your own jungle and start getting your own camps. Now you're going to be saying, oh, well, weren't you just telling me a second ago that I had to get these top camps reset? Yes, but that was before. That's like while you were already there. I was pointing out that you've now missed 2 opportunities to reset these camps, and you've ignored them and left instead. Once you back and once you restart here, your priority is now to go bot side. But before you back, while you were still sitting right here, your priority should have been to get these camps and reset them. Because now you're in a situation where you're finally going top to reset these camps, but once you reset the camps, there's nothing left to do. You can't go top to contest Urgot, and you can't counter jungle because you know nothing's there because you're already there, and you know there's no scuttle either, and you're not going to be able to take Rift Herald with Urgot's pressure there because he's gonna kill you if he goes and checks it. So there's nothing for you to do once you go top side after you get these camps. That's why it's a bad decision right now. No, don't go here. Just let it. Don't do this. Wow, that played out really good for you. Like, much better than it should have. Alright, I'm glad that happened. This Urgot misplayed that terribly. But maybe that's just the fact of that happens in bronze, right? So, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. You went top, you killed Urgot. That's... Everything that I said beforehand still stands, because in a normal game, the Urgot would not have played it like that, and he would have 2-shot you. But he didn't. So knowing this, now that you got your kill, That's good. I'm glad you got the kill. You got a huge shutdown the Urgot. You put the Urgot behind, or not behind, but like you prevent him from getting even further ahead while the Riven's dead. Now let's see what you do with it. Okay, once again, you just completely ignored this camp. You can't ignore these camps. You need to get these. But those two top camps are going to be worth so little by the time you actually go get them that they're not going to do anything. You need to have gotten these already and reset them. Why are you going top? So this is a big mistake. So you just, I'm gonna time this because this is, you've done this earlier in the game too, and I half pointed it out but didn't. But now that I keep seeing it over and over again, I want to point this out so you know what you're doing. So you get the kill. Now, what time is it? 12:36. I want you to remember that. They'll miss that one again. 13:21. You just spent 45 whole seconds doing literally nothing. There was no reason to do any of the movements you just did, and you got nothing out of any of them. Not only did you walk by this camp twice and not take it, but when you were over here, you walked down this way, you walked back over here instead of going back over here. When you came through here, you went to the river for no reason. There was no scuttle. There's nothing up to get. You can't take Rift Herald. There's no reason to be here. You walked down this way, did nothing, turned around, went back up this way. It looked like you were trying to go to the top wave for some reason, but your Riven was like right here. So obviously she's going to grab that, so there was no point. And then it looks like you like got there, noticed that she was like basically here, and then you made that realization that she's going to grab it, and you walk back down this way. Like, you see what I mean? You just accomplished absolutely nothing and wasted 45 seconds. In that same time frame, you could have killed Urgot, walked to this bush, came right to your Gromp, taken it, but would have taken like 10 seconds, walked down to Wolves, taken this, take another 10 seconds. Then you would have been able to come down here, go into Raptors, take Raptors, and now you can transition. You would have been here for this fight. So not only would you have taken 3 whole camps, you would have been right here when your brand is in trouble, and you would have potentially, with you and Katarina and Brand on this, you would have probably been able to save Brand and push these two away. So instead of doing all of that and saving your teammate, you are now going to get 1 camp. Do you see how this can be a big problem if you do this multiple times a game and it keeps like stacking on top of each other? You're putting yourself behind in gold and XP that you're not getting because you're wasting time instead of getting them. You're putting yourself behind in map positioning because you're out of position. Now you're sitting topside jungle when there's absolutely nothing happening in top or mid, the 2 lanes you can affect right now. So you are not doing anything. You are not in a position to help anyone, and someone just died where you should have been. You should have been here if you followed the route properly, and you would have been in the perfect spot to save Brand. So this is another one of those situations, kind of like the Riven one, where it's like, yes, was the Brand caught out of position and died? Yeah. Is that his fault? Yeah. But if you had played properly, would you have been right here? Yeah. Would you being here have made the Katarina also come because now it's a 3v2 and not just a 2v2? Yeah. So by you being here, that makes the Katarina come, that makes the Brand hold his ground, and that makes these two back off. So you save Brand, you keep map pressure, you get more camps, and now your bot side to look at the dragon or to get your other 2 camps. This is an infinitely better scenario for you if you had just not wasted all that time. But now you're stuck here. You still don't take the Gromp, so Gromp is still alive after all this time. And we are on this. Back to you. And now you can't contest dragon and you're stuck taking your red. Where before, if Bran was still alive, Riven came down, so she's here. So you might still have lost the dragon, but you would have been able to contest for it if Bran wasn't dead. And Bran isn't dead if you come down here at the right time. So that's what I want. Like, there's a lot of little decisions that add up. It's kind of like a domino effect thing, where your decision to waste time meant you didn't get the cams, which meant you were out of a spot, which meant Bran died, which meant you lost dragon. So literally every single thing that's happened in the last 2 minutes has been based off your decision to waste time in this river. And that's not an exaggeration. Every single thing that happened in this entire game for all 10 players was solely because you walked around here for about 45 seconds. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you're going to get better at this game. Because people, I'm sure that this Rammus is doing similar things. I'm sure he's also wasting a lot of time and going to the wrong spot and making the wrong decisions. So if you can fix that in your own play, and you can make yourself the jungler that doesn't do this stuff, you're going to start climbing, because you're going to be playing against your enemies that make these mistakes. So once you stop making them, your team is going to have the better jungler every game. And that, over a period of, let's say, 10 games, will get you more than a 50% win rate. If you're the better jungler every single game, spread out over 10 games, you should win 6 or 7 of those 10 games. There's always games that you can't win. In the end, it's a 5v5 team-based game, and you are one of those 5 players. No matter how well you play, someone on your team can play so badly that it cancels it out. But over the course of 10, 20, 30 games, if you're consistently playing better than the other jungler, you will win more than half of them, because the other team has to worry about those same issues too. People grief and int and make mistakes on the other team as well. So if you look at it from a probability standpoint, every time you queue up for League, you have 4 random teammates and 5 random enemies. That means you have the power to be that 5th person that offsets the... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. That offsets the game. So if you are consistently playing really, really well, that means there's 5 people on the other side and 4 people on your side to fill in those spots. It only takes 1 more person to play really, really well out of those 4, and now you have 2, and usually there's only 1 of those players per team. So if you can always be 1, whenever you have 1 more, you should win those games for free. And that's going to be what ends up putting you over that 50% mark, which ultimately that's what makes you climb. If you have more than a 50% win rate, you will climb. Get back to you. So we're here, kind of watching this fight play out. You assassinate the Nami. Good, that's fine. You go here, and it looks like Katarina for doing their thing. So Riven dies, but Nami dies, so that's okay. Urgot is Beef Boy over there, and you're taking... Alright, this is fine, taking wolves. This is not bad. This is fine. Now what? Where do we go? Okay, good. Now what? Good, good. Go top. Good gank, nice job. Now we're finally getting... Alright, please get that Gromp. Please get that Gromp. No! No, the Gromp! Dude, you gotta get that Gromp. You can't... Obviously, I know you're not gonna hear me during the game. I'm not gonna change. But, like, I hope you can see, now that you're watching the game back, how many times you literally just walk by this camp and never take it. You need to take that camp. You cannot leave a camp up for that long during a game. This is, like, very bad. Because every time you walk by it, you're not only losing the XP that it's worth, you're losing the XP that you would have gained by resetting the camp and making it gain XP. That's what you have to think about. Every single time you walk by it, you lose the Gromp XP, plus the bonus you would have got by killing it and making it reset at its higher value. So every time, so like you're not just missing 5, 5, 5, 5. You're missing 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 20. And over time, if you put all those together, that's like 70 XP versus 20 XP. That's a huge difference. So that's what you're really missing by skipping that camp every time. That's why I keep pointing out that like you can't keep skipping it. All right, so you're backing. This is good. Now where do we go? Go mid. That's fine. You're not gonna fight the Kale, so don't try that. Pick up the wave. That's okay. Go bot lane. You see a dive. Okay. So once you get to this point, they both die. So at this point, they're both dead, and there's 4 people here. So just be cautious about how far you're gonna commit to this, and watch these people. See if they stay or back off. They all stay. So there's no way in hell that you defend this tower against all 4 of them, right? And you realize that. That's good. You didn't come in and try and help. You stay over here, and it looks like you're going to try and go counter jungle or something. So the only critique I have is that you made this realization, which is good, but you made it late. You didn't even have to come down here. So when you are right here, how far back do we go? Okay, so you're right here. You start moving down once you see the Rammus. Good. You see a gank, you move down to help. Now you see Kale. And you see that Bran already died. So now you're kind of like, okay, well now there's 4 of them here. And Bran's dead. So, and that's probably going to die too. And that's what happens, right? MF ends up dying right here. Yeah. So at this point, where are you? You're here. So you have to be saying to yourself, okay, well now there's 4 of them here and a low health turret. They're obviously going to take that turret. And there's absolutely nothing that you and Katarina can do to stop all these 4. These 4. Absolutely nothing you guys do to stop that. Especially with a turret that's this low health. So, what you need to do is tell yourself right now that you can't do anything about it. And make yourself useful. At this point, either go take your Krugs or go take your Raptors. Instead, you keep walking this way. So every second is wasted time from here on out. Wasted, 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 wasted. So you did absolutely nothing in all of that time. And all they did was take the turret that you knew they were going to take. So you could have gotten this camp and this camp in that time. Or you could have gotten this camp and went up to top side and cleared out these and got Scuttle. In the same amount of time that you basically just stood there and watched. This is the same thing as if, let's say you like walked down this way, right? You walked down here, came down here, and then went to the turret to like defend it. But that turned into you just like standing here and watching them take it and doing nothing. That's the worst. Whenever you see someone in your games trying to defend a turret and they go to defend it and then just stand here and do nothing because they realize that, oh shit, I can't fight these guys. Every second, but then like, why do they still stand there? Every second they sit here waiting, they're wasting time. They could be doing something else. They could be getting golden XP, getting vision, rotating to another lane that might need the pressure to push out. There's other things they can do, but they're not doing. You're effectively doing that in that you're just walking around here not accomplishing anything. Excuse me, when you could have been farming camps and getting vision. So you're going to end up counter jungling, which I'm glad you do something eventually. But see how you end up getting 1 camp and backing, when instead you could have gotten 1 camp here, 1 camp here, and then either pushed out mid lane, because it's right here, or gone up top and done your top side as well. And then transitioned back to Urgot, who's now right here. Like, there's a lot more you could have done if you just left and went to go do other things. So again, like, once you realize that you can no longer stop that 4-lane bot, just leave. Don't stay around. Because now you end up fighting Urgot anyway. So if you just went this way, and we went from, I'm drawing the minimap, if you went from here, and just went like, bing, 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 you would have ended up in the exact same spot you ended up going anyway, but you would have had two more camps under your belt. That would have been a better use of your time. Now he's going to take this. Okay, good. You guys kill him. Where are you going? Now you're going down here. They take your camp. Don't chase them. Do something else. You see they're on dragon. They're on dragon. Okay, hold up. Oh, why isn't it on you? Alright, so you die. They get dragon. They kill Riven. They're probably gonna either get Baron or end the game pretty soon, I would assume. Okay, so you're going in the jungle to check it out. You're thinking they're on Baron. You see Urgot. Collapse on him. This is good. They kill your brand, and you guys get stomped by the Urgot. Yeah, this is a game. So, the game's over at this point. It doesn't even matter what happens next. The big takeaways here is that you spend a lot of time wasted, essentially, where it seems like you just don't know where you're supposed to be going or what you're supposed to be doing, and you end up walking around in circles. What I want you to do is, if you get to a point in the game where you're just like, and this is you, like, you're just like, I honestly just don't know what to do next, find something to do. And I don't mean this as like, oh, obviously I'll find something to do. If there's a camp up, if there's a wave to push, if there's a lane to gank, if there's vision to get, go do that. There's no reason for you to ever be walking around aimlessly and doing nothing. There is always something to do. If you can't find something to do, it means you're missing something. Something is there, and you're missing it. Wasting time in the jungle is one of the worst possible things you can do, because it means that you're either getting behind in vision, gold, or XP. And those are the three main things that help you win a game, especially in low elo, where 9 times out of 10, the jungler who wins is the jungler who farms better than the other jungler. If you did a better job farming this game and you made yourself stronger, your ganks would have been more impactful and you could have taken control. I see a game on your OPGG. It was a ranked game where you went 14, 1, and 8 as Kazakhs. Part of that is because the enemy team was mostly squishies, but they also had a Darius, so like that's similar to the Urgot. So just take out the Rammus and replace it with, I think you played against an Evelyn, and it's basically the same type of team comp. Yet in that game you popped off, and in this game you didn't. The one difference I see by looking at your OPGG profile is that in that game you had 5 CS per second average. In this game you had 3. That's a big difference. Especially because the CS in the early game will make you stronger earlier, which allows you to have stronger ganks, which can then get you a kill that you wouldn't have gotten this game, and that makes you even stronger. So it all compounds on itself. The quicker that you get strong means that it's the quicker you can impact the game, and the quicker you can make yourself even stronger by outside sources from like something like not like CS, like getting kills as opposed to just farming, right? Everything stacks on itself, and that's why getting ahead early and not wasting time is very, very, very important. Because if you get to your excuse me, if you get to your power spike before the enemy jungler, that puts you in a huge spot to start snowballing the game. I think that's about where I'm gonna end it. Try to take away the topics and the themes of like that I had in this VOD of like analyzing the information, getting all that stuff in your head, knowing where the enemy jungler is, making a decision based off of that information, and how maybe these bad decisions can negatively impact the game, so you can learn from them. I don't expect you to fix all your problems tomorrow. That's not how this works. What this does is this video allows you to think about things a different way. So now in your future games, if you make similar mistakes, you now know why they're mistakes and what maybe could have happened if you didn't make it. It will allow you to pick out your own mistakes in the future and get better. Any questions after this, feel free to message me and we can talk about them. Overall, I don't think you did terribly, but there was definitely a lot of different areas that you can kind of sew together and fix a little bit. So try to work on those and get back to me, and good luck, dude. I hope to see you in silver. I think you have not 9 days, 8 days before the season ends. I want to see you in silver 4 before the season ends. I think you can do it. You're not that far away. All right, good luck, dude.